Welcome back to my chaos, everybody. There are hundreds of thousands of original art dolls out there, and some of them are absolutely gorgeous. And there's a lot of free patterns too, from cute to complex, but this is not going to be one of them. I started this project without any sort of direction, and I'm going to end it without any sort of direction. So to start off, I had a fake leather bag laying around, and I decided I was going to use that for her outfit. So I cut off a piece of the leather, and I decided this outfit was not going to be one of those ones that are easily removed. So I just literally started sewing the fabric onto the doll itself. I used black button thread because it looked like a twine in doll size, so I thought that would be a good matching material to go with the fake leather. And since what I was using with leather, or fake leather, I decided she was going to be kind of tribal or wild or primitive style, because that seemed to be the way I was going. So I wrapped the leg in the material, pinned it down so I had a rough idea of the shape, drew it with a little white pencil I had, cut it out, and then started sewing it on. I'm very proud of the stitching I did on the back of the leg. It looked really good, and the lines really line up well. I don't know what happened with the rest of the outfit. I think I forgot how to sew. The skirt, I wasn't sure how to do, so I took a piece of felt and I pinned it around the body so I had a rough shape to start off as, because the leather isn't really that flexible to start out with. So I cut the front and the back, and I cut a slit in the back to sew up the side. I stitched it up just so it would have a little bit more contour to the doll. I wasn't sure how long I wanted the skirt to be, so I left it pretty long at the beginning and then trimmed it as I wanted it. I sewed through my fingers quite a few times. This entire outfit, as simple as it is, probably took me about 3 hours. Maybe it would have taken less had I actually had a plan of attack, which it didn't. This is all being made up on the fly. Oh, here I also switched over to another Monster High doll I had laying around to use as a guinea pig, pretty much, while I altered parts of the costume so I wouldn't damage the original doll. I originally was going to put another side skirt on the doll of feathers, kind of like Lightning from Final Fantasy XIII number 2, but I didn't. I'm not very good with shoes, and I really have no idea how to start them. There's a couple tutorials, but I don't really like them. So I just decided to go with the leather strapping again to keep it simple and primitive style. And put the skirt on the finished doll and stitched up the back. And took the side out and stitch that up again. There's Ruby in the background. Now the skirt keeps riding up. Eventually I did put a middle in it to keep it from doing that, but that's later. I cut out a little vest pattern with a couple of holes to go around the arm, and I tested it out on the model doll before I put on the original. So I started with a small pleat in the back, and I stitched that up. It wasn't enough that the backs on these dolls have got a huge angle to them, and I had to redo that pleat in the back and make it very, very wide. Trim down the shoulders a bit more. I want to kind of leave it stitched in the front, but still a space so you can see the gold on her chest underneath the leather and the twine. I trimmed the shoulders too close and they ended up breaking, so I used the twine to make new straps for them, and I kind of like how it turned out, so I'm pretty pleased with that little mistake. And it fits really well. Cut out the armholes just a little bit wider. Check the camera to make sure it's working because I think I thought I turned it off. And slide it on the finished doll. Now I take my twine and I stitch up the front just to keep it bound around the chest a bit more. You can still see the gold underneath. I wish it had come out a bit more even, but I was getting pretty tired by now. And that's her basic outfit. I took some feathers and put those in her hair with her gold rings. And then we need accessories, and this is my bead box. And these are beads, crystals, and pearls that I've gathered over the years. I go to flea markets and yard sales, and I will buy all the old jewelry and necklaces and then take them apart when I get home, and now I have quite a nice little selection of crystals. I take a little black paint and touch up around the eyes. It's been driving me crazy. And I was going to put a black belt, but I don't think it matched. I took the skirt off and I glued a piece of the fabric inside so she'd have like a crotch. So it'd be more like a skirt. So it wouldn't ride up like it kept doing, and I didn't like that, so glue didn't work. So eventually I just stitched it in over the stitches that were already in the skirt, so you wouldn't see any more stitches, and in the back as well. And then I just put it on, and that keeps it from riding up every time she moves or you pose her. And here she is, all finished. Anyway, thanks guys for tagging along for this little as seen on YouTube adventure. I might do another one of these dolls, I'm not sure. I'm gonna hang on to this one probably for a little while. As much as I hated it at the beginning, it's really kind of grown on me. So I'll hold on to it for a bit, but I might put her up in my Etsy shop a little bit later and see if she sells. And if I do sell her, I'll probably use the money to get some Mr. Super Clear, so the next doll I do will be a little bit better when it comes to the face and the paint. Anyway, thanks guys. I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.